Welcome to another episode of Growth Hacker TV. I'm Bronson Taylor, and today I have Georgiana Laudi. Is that right? Georgiana
Yep.
Laudi? There you go. And you are currently the Director of Marketing for Unbounce. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So let's begin by learning a little bit about Unbounce. What is Unbounce? What does it do?
Unbounce is a self-serve landing page platform, essentially for, to allow people to build, publish, and test landing pages. So anybody who's marketing a business or product, looking to any sort of, promotional marketing like that, they'll want to use these standalone type landing pages for higher conversion rates.
Gotcha. Perfect. Let me ask you this, kind of a side note. Is there added pressure when you're the director of marketing for a company that helps so many thousands of other companies market themselves? Do you feel like you have to be like the Uber marketer, or does it not get to you?
Yeah, I guess there definitely is. I didn't really think of it that much in the beginning, but yeah, marketing to marketers is definitely keeps things interesting. Definitely forces us to eat our own dog food and, only, recommend products or tools or ways of doing things that we're willing to do ourselves, that we do ourselves. So it's a lot of eating our own dog food, and it also helps. We have like a great team as well. So Ollie Gardner, who's now a creative director, doing a lot of our content and stuff like that. And he's a fantastic writer and super popular. So it makes it a little bit easier that I get to work with like really great talent. But also, I guess really staying sort of ahead of the curve a little bit is really important. And there's a lot of people now that sort of rely on us for really like solid recommendations. So we always like to keep just a little bit ahead of the curve. So yeah, it's fun. It's a fun problem.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
When I was thinking about this interview, I was thinking I want to divide it into kind of two sections because there's two different angles that I think you can help us with. And the first is I want to know about how companies use Unbounce to market themselves, because some of the people listening to this are going to want to know, okay, how do I actually use the platform, and what are some things I should know from the director of marketing about how to best utilize this platform? But then I'm also interested in a second set of questions, which is how you're actually marketing Unbounce as a platform, because you're a startup too, trying to get users. So I want to talk about the platform Unbounce and then how you're marketing it a little bit. But let's start with the platform. What kinds of companies do you see primarily using Unbounce right now?
Really, it's a huge range. I hate to give such a general answer, but really is a big range. Entrepreneurs, startups, consultants, agencies, big brands with multiple, marketing teams, stuff like that. It really is a wide range. In SaaS companies, education, finance, travel, real estate. It's really
a range.
Yeah, it really is anybody who's marketing a business or product or service. So yeah, anybody's just doing promotional type marketing.
Yeah. Is there any one category of company that really stands out? Like you have a tremendous amount of travel, or, is there any one that kind of spikes when you think about it? Or is it really just all over the place, everybody?
You know what? No, you asked me that, and I really can't think of one in particular that stands out.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately not.
No, that's fine.
Education, there's a lot of SaaS, actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. But I mean, there's a nice big range, right? So
yeah.
It's hard to pick on, right?
What do you think makes people drawn to it? Are they drawn to it because they don't have an in-house development team and they need quick landing pages? Are they drawn to it because they do have an in-house development team and they don't want to, have them spending their time with landing pages? Is there any, kind of thread through all the users? Why do they use it, the ones that do? Is there any commonalities there?
Well, there's definitely commonalities in uses, but I guess the IT, those typical IT bottlenecks that everybody talks about, that's definitely a big reason for it. People don't want to fuss around with that stuff. And also a lot of marketers that are thinking more about ROI, especially when it comes to like performance marketing, like PPC or social ads, things like that. They really want the biggest bang for their buck, and testing landing pages is really the best way to do that, and they don't have to go to anybody else to do it. I mean, we use it ourselves, right? I mean, it's, we always sort of say that, like, we eat our own dog food, but we really honestly do, and thank God I don't need to, our team doesn't need to rely on IT to build these things for us or even conduct tests, stuff like that. So there's a lot we can do without needing outside help outside of the department. So that's a big reason for it. Also, integrations play a huge part into it too. So that makes it really easy to adopt for a lot of marketers because we work with so many other marketing tools.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Did I answer your question? I feel like
I can't remember if you did or not, but it was great content either way.
Okay.
Is there any kind of companies that you feel like if they only knew about Unbounce, it would make their life so much better? Is there any like verticals of companies that they just don't know you exist, and you just want to tell them right now, hey, we're here, we can save you time, effort, all that stuff?
Yeah. Particular verticals, that's a good question. I'm not sure exactly because I think it's probably pretty wide ranging across
Yeah.
all verticals. Any sort of marketing team or agency that or consultant that is a little bit more on the traditional side of things, so maybe has just started doing web marketing.
Okay.
Anybody who's not really obsessed with their conversion rate just
Uh-huh.
yet, right?
All right, so
So
talk to us about that. Why is that person someone that needs to know about this? What's the benefit for them if they're just now getting into the internet side of things, but they're used to working with marketing budgets and campaigns and things like that? What's the value add for them?
well, really because the majority of them are probably sending traffic to their homepage,
Hmm.
which is the biggest, and they think it's good enough to send traffic to their
Okay,
homepage. And
why
it's,
is it not good enough? Teach us.
yeah. There's a couple of reasons, but really there's, the biggest reason is that there's a million leaks on your homepage, right? So for a particular marketing campaign, I mean, obviously you have to have a great homepage and it's
Hmm.
still incredibly important, but
Sure.
when it comes to campaigns and stuff like that, you really want one goal to be achieved.
Hmm.
Like you're collecting an email address, you're trying to sell a product, or you're doing lead gen or whatever.
Hmm.
You really want one goal. So a standalone landing page will let you do that, and it will, all your content is about achieving that one particular goal, as opposed to your homepage where there's a navigation and there's a
Hmm.
footer navigation and there's a million, calls to action all over the page. But for you know, for campaigns, you really do want to concentrate on one call to action and have the
Yeah.
page, for one particular purpose. And also another reason, actually, which is very important, is message match. So if you're doing paid, any sort of paid advertising,
Hmm.
like PPC, you really want a strong message match between the ad the user came from and the landing page that they end up on. It's you can just imagine what that will do
Hmm.
for conversion rates to reinforce why they're there and that they're in the right place.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot too. And a homepage just can't achieve that.
Yeah, so let's kind of go into those two a little bit because I feel like that's so important and it's a huge thing that Unbounce does.
Yeah.
And I want to, for a lot of people, if you've been around, this is obvious stuff. But for some people watching this, this is new and they're going to learn some things here. So you call it a leaky bucket when they have too many call to actions. There's too many links. There's too much navigation because if they just end up on the homepage, there's too many other places they can go without really giving you the one thing you wanted, which is the email or the sale or whatever it may be. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. And that may also explain some of the things that people see online. If you're on Google and you do a search and you click on one of the paid ads, you may end up on a Spotify page that doesn't look like Spotify.com. And people kind of wonders like, well, what is this? Like, it's like another world or something. But they're actually trying to squeeze you to do the one thing they want you to do. So that was
Yeah.
the first thing you mentioned, which I think is really important. And then
Yeah.
second, you talked about the message match. What was the wording you used there? You had some phrase for it.
I don't
But
remember.
Yeah, but that's why is that important though? Why is it important that the ad they click on Google, let's say, also has the same kind of language and messaging as the site they end up on? Because you can have an ad on Google and send them to the homepage, but the homepage is talking about something different than the ad did. So why
Yeah.
do you want that to match?
I think it's really a lot about like trust and confidence, and reassurance that they've arrived in the same place. They don't, when people click on an ad, they're automatically a little bit skeptical, right?
Yeah.
They're like, I'm going to be sold to.
Yeah.
So it's really is, if they were compelled enough to click on the ad, then you don't want to lose them at that point. I mean, they're still semi-cold at that point. But if they arrive on the landing page and the messaging is the same, and they see things like trust factors, social proof, things like that, benefit-driven sort of stuff, then it all sort of matches where they came from, then their confidence level in your company will be a lot higher.
Yeah, that's great. And I know that Unbounce doesn't do this part of the equation, but kind of even going one step further back is when you buy the right keyword. So they're searching for a keyword that matches the keyword you bought, that has an ad with that keyword in it, that takes you to a landing page about that keyword. And now the trust is just through the roof. They know they're in the right spot because the whole thing began with their own search. And yet the entire process was just perfect for them. So they feel like this whole the universe has just conspired to give them exactly what they want, when really it's marketing people being very smart.
Yeah, absolutely.
So kind of making it go full circle there. No, that's great. Those are two great reasons to use Unbounce. And even talking about that, think about how many campaigns people might have in Google Ads, how many different ads they have. That's a lot of work to create a landing page for each and every one of those mini campaigns. But with Unbounce, you can quickly go in and just make as many landing pages as you want. So it kind of makes sense for someone doing a lot of pay-per-click, wouldn't you think?
Tons of sense. I shudder to think that anybody is doing pay-per-click without it.
Yeah, there you go. That should be your all's tagline.
Yeah.
Unbounce. I shudder to think. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let me give you a chance to brag for a little bit about the platform. Tell us, what are some of the biggest wins that companies have had using Unbounce? And maybe you can use their name, maybe you can't. I don't know, what you're allowed to disclose. But tell us, a company that just got a crazy number of email addresses or a crazy number of sales or helped their bottom line in some way that was really important to them. So brag a little bit.
Oh God, I really wish I had some more, compelling stories. We have customers, send us emails, call us up, tell us the most awesome stories all the time. One of the things where we've sort of lacked a little bit is on doing real case studies, and it's something we've been asked a lot for, and we are finally getting around to doing them. Thank God. But yeah, I don't have this one awesome story. There's a lot of smaller stories that we're going to be, pulling out of and making a full case study out of. But we do have Kissmetrics is a really avid user.
Really?
Their acquisition team. Yeah. They're one of our testimonials as of late, our recent ones actually, and we have a great relationship with them now because they reached out saying hey, your platform's awesome and we'd love to do something for you guys, or give you a testimonial or whatever. Kissmetrics has hundreds of pages on Unbounce, and they use it a lot. They're definitely considered one of our power users, and they've seen conversion lifts of 2 to 3 times. Hootsuite is another, and they're Vancouver based.
There you go. Now you're name dropping. This is what I was looking for. This is what you need to be doing. Tell us about Kissmetrics. Tell us about Hootsuite.
Hootsuite. They're customers and they're local, so they paid us a visit not too long ago, and told us what they liked, what they didn't like about the platform, which was great. Awesome learning experience for us. And they've seen lifts of 20% on one of their landing pages, or actually probably more than one of their landing pages. But when you're talking about a pricing page, a 20% lift is massive, right? I mean, that's huge. And I can't disclose any numbers or anything, but they've had a lot of success with it too. But like I said, we've got a lineup of customers now that are we really want to tell you our success stories. So finally, we will be putting these together. They'll be on the website very soon. In the next month or two, we'll be definitely pulling more out.
Well, the two companies you mentioned, I think, are great testimonials because they're not just any companies. They're web companies with huge development teams, and they themselves are they help people grow. Hootsuite helps people grow through using social networks. Kissmetrics helps people grow, obviously, through using metrics and integrating with websites. So they have really advanced, sophisticated teams of developers, and they're still choosing to use Unbounce. So I think just those two names mean more than just their users. They're the kinds of people that could do it on their own and choose not to. So I think that's kind of cool to hear that. All right, let's talk about you a little bit as the director of marketing. So how long have you been with Unbounce?
It has been just over a year, actually.
Just over a year?
Yeah. So it was last February, I guess, and I was working remotely from Montreal. So I moved from Montreal to Vancouver to work with Unbounce.
Okay, great. And in that time period, so it's been almost a year now, where have you focused most of your efforts? Where have you said, when you just on a daily basis, you come into the office or you're working remotely, before, what was the lion's share of your time spent doing to ramp up the marketing efforts with Unbounce?
Well, one of the things that I loved about Unbounce from the beginning was that they were big believers in inbound and content marketing. So we've definitely, since I joined the team, we've definitely continued to do that, and we've ramped it up. yeah, there's just been, I mean, there was only one person in marketing before, right? So now we're a team of 5, so we actually get to, pump out a lot more content. So we're doing things like ebooks, we're doing unwebinars.
I got an email today about the unwebinar. Talked about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You lost them. They're off your site. What are you going to do about it? Join our webinar. I was like, oh, what great timing. I'm interviewing you today, and I get sold to this morning by Unbounce.
So depending on if you're a customer or not, that email would have come from probably a different person. So if it might have come from me, or it might have come from our director of customer success. But yeah,
the one I got this morning was director of customer success, but I am a customer on a different email, so I'll have to go check that one and see if I got one from you.
Yeah, we do those unwebinars in partnership with our customer success team. So, as much as we want to educate our own customers, marketing gets to, takes part of the work, and we produce them together. And yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome for our customers, and they're awesome for acquisition, honestly. They're ridiculously popular. You wouldn't even believe it. It's crazy. I mean, we put on a couple first ones, which were really, really fun and not stuffy, and not the traditional type of unwebinar. I mean, webinars are already kind of feeling like they're on their way out, but I think it's just because now people are just finally starting to do them the right way. Yeah. So, they're really, really, really popular, actually. So, we're looking forward to a really good one.
So you put a lot of effort into inbound marketing. So really just trying to create content. You mentioned ebooks, you mentioned webinars. The blog is a great resource, which I'm actually going to ask you a little bit more about in a little bit, I think. With all that content, how do you create it? So like an ebook, let's say. What do you do to create an ebook? Do you find an author that's already successful and has this ebook ready to go? Are you creating it in-house from scratch? What are you actually doing to create this content? Because I think people are going to want to imitate what you're doing. They're going to say, oh, Unbounce obviously knows a lot about marketing. They're using inbound and content creation. So let's talk about the mechanics of it. How do you actually get the content?
Okay, well, like I said, really, really lucky. We're working, I'm working with a lot of great in-house content, talent. So Ollie Gardner, who started the blog and did the majority of the content, all the content on the blog for a long, long time until sort of I came on board, I guess. Thank God. Yeah. And he's an incredible writer. Just happened to be an awesome writer. And he writes our content, he writes our ebooks, sorry. I think I've co-authored 1 or 2, but for the most part, it's Ollie. And he's really a sort of a UX conversion kind of minded person, which is great. And I mean, he's now branded as like Mr. Landing Pages. And he writes awesome content. But the topic it sort of starts with like, hey, what are we going to write about? And, I have this sort of plan that in 2013, we have a certain amount of ebooks that we'd like to produce, and we try to tie the content to, maybe it's a topic that our customers are screaming about and knowing about. Maybe it's a topic we saw really, really successful on the blog, or maybe it's something we can tie to a feature release. And that's actually our upcoming one is going to be tied to a feature release. So rather than screaming from the mountaintops that we've got a feature release, we would never really do that, right? We'll be like, okay, so what kind of content can we create around the benefits of this? So that's what our next one is going to be. So Ollie writes them, I edit them. They go through a copy editing process. Obviously, they get copy edited 2 or 3 times actually, and then go through to our designer who gets them into a nice PDF, and then we put up a landing page.
Of course.
We put up a landing page to give them away. And
that was what I was going to ask. So you give them away. Are you getting anything in return? Email address, sign up?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Actually, over almost about a year now, we've been doing a little bit more lead gen, but not in the sort of traditional sense of lead gen. We don't have a sales team. We never send really like hard sell emails, anything like that. It's always just about content. So it's like giving so much content it hurts kind of thing. So so we put up a landing page for an ebook. We give people the choice to either, in most cases, we'll give people the choice to either provide us with an email address or to get it for a tweet.
Okay.
And we've run a few tests on that, obviously. Yeah. And it has proven just as sort of, although we can't do the lead gen with the people that will do it for a tweet, it still really helps with virality and, gets the word out about it and sort of keeps the machine running a little bit. So like, even after the initial campaign, our ebooks are continued to be downloaded for forevermore kind of thing, which is awesome. And there's about a 20-80, 80-20 rule there. We'll get about 80% emails and 20% tweets. And at the end of the day, I mean, we don't do hard sale. We're not into that kind of thing. So not that there's anything wrong with it. Just
exactly.
Not the way
it's
we
one
do
way
it.
to grow if you're that kind of company.
Yeah. That's worked really, really well for us. And, in the ebook, there's, regular CTAs to sign up. Like,
so you have CTAs in an ebook, but it's a PDF, so they can actually click a link, right?
yeah, exactly. And so we'll have another landing page. So, if after you've read the ebook, you're interested in using a product that, will let you do these kinds of things, rather than using IT, then there will be another landing page to sign up.
Yeah, what you just said is so interesting because I am literally having the discussion right now with my partners about how to spread Growth Hacker TV. And we've decided we're either going to get an email address for like a part of a free video or something, or we're going to ask for a tweet. And we've been going back and forth which one. We actually called some other guys, got some advice, and we're hearing different things. So it's great to actually hear the 80-20 and kind of what you found out and your reasoning. It may not be helpful to anybody else listening, but it's really helpful to me. So thank you for that. This has been enlightening to me. This is exactly what I wanted to know. You mentioned Ollie a couple times. So, Unbounce has an incredible blog. I get forwarded, blog posts and everything all the time, and I devour them. It's so good. It's one person behind that. It's like, because other companies, like I had the guy from Treehouse on, and everyone that teaches at Treehouse has to give blog posts to create this content machine. Is it really just one guy for you guys, basically creating this content?
Not anymore. Once upon a time, yes, it was. So before I joined the team, it was Ollie creating all the content, daily or weekly blogging. And then he started getting more guest posts. And then since I've come on board, it's been sort of more of that. So we really love the conversion community, and there are such brilliant people in it, and we're always discovering new amazing people, and we get them to contribute, and we get awesome guest posts and really awesome authors and posts out of there. So no, now we're a marketing team of 5, but we have one person who's full-time on the blog. It's not Ollie, but there is one person full-time on the blog and social. Ollie spends quite a bit of his time on content and approving posts like that, and as do I. So we sort of have, our 2 in-house subject matter experts, and then and Ollie still writes a lot of the posts, but we also have a lot of other contributing authors, which they've just been absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Do you think that's
They're
a good
our favorite
system?
people.
Yeah. Do you think that's a good system where you're giving them exposure? I'm assuming you're not paying them. You're giving them exposure and a platform, and then in return, they're giving you inbound leads and really SEO-worthy kind of things for Google. Do you feel like that's a good trade-off if you get the right people to write for you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, there is a mix. Some are guest posts, and some we do pay for their contributions to the blog. But we don't have any really hard, fast rule there.
Yeah.
We went through a period of time actually where we were blogging 5 days a week, and which was insane, an insane amount of work, especially when we were 2 people at the time. It was only Ollie and I doing it, and it was an insane amount of work, and there wasn't much time to do much else. So we've pared it down a bit. We're now doing about 3, but they're really, we try our damnedest to make them really, really meaty, awesome posts. We refuse a lot of posts, to be honest. We get a lot of requests too. We have like a Write for Unbounce page. We get tons of requests to contribute to the blog, and we refuse the vast majority of them. But just to sort of maintain that, that level of quality. So
you and Ollie have to manage all of these guest blog authors. Do you have people that are writing on an ongoing basis for you all, or is it just one-offs?
We do now. Thank God. We were seeing, really awesome contributors to the blog, and we're like, I want this person all the time. This is like amazing. They're super easy to deal with. They know what they're talking about. They don't take a ton of they bring awesome ideas to the table, and so we have some really great relationships with regular contributors, but we definitely do. We do take guest posts from because we do a lot of co-marketing and partnerships.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we'll bring on a new author out of nowhere for added exposure kind of thing. And and if it works out, then we ask them to write again. And for the most part, we have a really great relationship, and we get to continue doing that. So
yeah. And I ask these questions because other people are going to be trying to build this kind of machinery. And, so it helps them to really know the details of how you're building the machinery to have this blog that generates inbound leads. How many people do you have writing on an ongoing basis where you have that deeper relationship? Are we talking 5 people, 30 people? Just roughly.
Right. Oh God, not 30. I don't think I can handle that.
No, that's what I'm asking. I want to know how much you can handle before the wheels come off,
We're still quite a small team, right? So I'd say regularly, aside from Ollie, who writes at least a post a week, I'd say maybe 5 or 6 that regularly contribute. But we've got probably anywhere, 15 to 20 who we are in regular contact with. They may not, contribute once a month, but we have a pretty good roster of our favorite people.
Yeah, that's great. All right, let me ask you this. You mentioned all the different things you do, as webinar, the ebooks, the blog, things like that. What's been, in the year that you've been there, what's been the single most successful thing you've done? Was it an ebook that you put out, or a blog post you wrote, or a fill in the blank? What was the one thing where, and maybe you don't have the stats on this either because you're still getting your case studies together. But what's something you've done? Because, I'm interested in the outliers. The one thing where it's like, wow, that worked.
Right. The ebooks, honestly. What we started doing, which wasn't really happening much before I came on board, was we actually started emailing again. Email seems to be that, that one channel that, I don't know. It's either still heavily underestimated.
I think it's magical. I think email is magical.
It is.
I've mentioned it in so many interviews on here.
yeah, it's crazy. So, it's really been building up that list of really engaged people with our content, and that happens all through ebooks. So, having an amazing, content creator in-house is a big, a really important piece of this puzzle, obviously. And they don't have to be in-house, but. Creating that kind of content, that really desirable, I would pay for this content. Yeah. And giving it away, and collecting an email address. And we've done awesome stuff with and I say lead gen, I don't, it's not hard lead gen, but we do that. It's been really successful for us the past while. Also, partnerships and integrations and co-marketing with other companies has been huge.
All right, how does that work? Tell me about a partnership kind of situation. How does that play out? They come to you, you go to them. What does it look like so people can replicate it if they want to?
Right. Well, in the beginning, we were going to them. Even just a year ago, it's changed drastically. I was sending out emails. I mean, there was sort of a queue of people our hot list of who we'd love to work with, and we'd reach out and basically, put it in such terms that this is what we're going to do for you. This is what's in it for the partner, right? Now things have changed so drastically in the past year that now we're getting flooded with emails from people looking to partner with us, which is an awesome thing, right? Yeah. What does a typical co-marketing thing look like? It really kind of depends, because we have technical integrations with some partners. So if we're doing the integration, then we'll obviously reach out and say this and produce content and things like that surround the integration, use cases and why a marketer would want to use these two platforms together and make a marketing story out of it. And then there's also just flat out, co-promo with complementary companies, which that might involve guest posting on their blog, on our blog, or vice versa, and being a guest on an webinar, or maybe an email introduction, a mutual email introduction to each other's customer lists, which is a little bit different because that involves our customer success team. That's not a marketing effort, but it is part of a co-marketing thing that we might could potentially do with a really tight match.
Yeah. They'd have to be really tight to give up emails.
Yeah, well, no, we don't give away
Or not
emails.
give up. I mean, to even blast
Never.
something out to your emails. Yeah. I don't think the ICANN Spam Act would like you giving them up.
Yeah, no, God, no. But no, if we're going to recommend a tool, it's got to be a really great match, and it's got to be a tool that we really, really believe in and that we think would be really beneficial to our customers.
Yeah, that's great. Let me ask you this. Being that you create so much content and that's such a dominant focus, do you guys think about it in terms of SEO? Do you know a lot about SEO and you're thinking about how the content works with what you know about SEO? Or is it really, let's just create great content that we would want to consume, and SEO inbound takes care of itself through Twitter or Google, however it's going to work? Because I know some people come at it heavily SEO'd. Some come at it more, I got an intuition on what the people want, or I'm seeing it, like you said, through what people are telling you they're interested in. How do you guys approach it?
Well, I have a background in SEO, but to be honest with you, it's not something we break our heads over.
Okay.
I think probably early on, it's hard to say though, because I wasn't there for the first year, right? So I know that during the first year, Ollie did spend quite a bit of time, optimizing the website, optimizing content, things like that. But it's not something we break our heads over now because, we have such a great community. Like that social community that we have is awesome. And, obviously we don't ignore it. It's impossible for me to do. I can't ignore it.
Of course. Especially with the background in it. You're never going to ignore it. You're going to do it on accident.
But it's not something that I find at this point is worth dedicating that many hours to or resources to. I think I would much prefer our team concentrate on creating amazing content rather than making sure we're hitting, the perfect keyword.
Yeah. No, that's my take on it as well. I feel like if you're creating great content, you do good SEO on accident. So it goes hand in hand almost. That's great. Well, let me ask you this. What's the next channel, kind of looking on the horizon? You've been there a year. You've probably, been working on things that were just front of mind, had to happen. What do you see as kind of maybe the next channel you want to go into? Do you see yourself as just, I'm going to focus on content from now till forever? Or is there another thing? Are you going to get into ad buying? Are you going to get into, fill in the blank, some other kind of acquisition channel beyond this in a year or in a few months or something?
Right. A year is a very far away to me.
Especially for a marketer, that's an eon away. So much can change in our landscape in a few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Next couple of months, I would definitely, case studies is the top of my list right now.
All right, case studies, that's right. I've just put it high on your list. You need case studies.
Yeah. And we're going to be actually working on some customer success story videos as well. So not just written format, like dry PDF. We're gonna go from the success story angle. We're B2B, but we don't we're very sort of casual company, and we concentrate a lot on being like both educational and entertaining, and so we don't put out like dry content as much as possible. So case studies is definitely one. I'm trying to think. Well, we just launched a conversion focused partner ecosystem on our website.
Okay. So what does that mean? Tell me about that.
Yeah, because our partnerships are so important to us, we really wanted a better way to sort of display either our flat out partners or our integration partners, like our technology partners, but also just services that work really well with Unbounce. So we have a section up there. It's in the main nav now, and it's all dedicated, like broken down into basically conversion categories like email, PPC, design, copy and content, things like that. So CRMs, marketing automation, those kind of tools that work really great together. So that was just launched only a couple of weeks ago. So we're still, learning our way around that. And there's a ton of stuff that's coming out of that now. All of a sudden you put up this build it and they will come kind of thing is happening right now. And all of a sudden, these great partners are sort of coming out of the woodworks. And you've got, so now I have, a ton of stuff that we can look forward to doing this year in partnership with other people.
Yeah.
Also, we have some integrations that are coming down the line, which will be really great to co-promo with partners. And like I said, a couple of feature releases as well. So, our product team is, working their ass off. We've got a great roadmap coming up, and I'm really, really excited for the things that we get to talk about in the next couple of months. So feature releases, partnerships, and case studies are definitely my number one priority in 2013.
So it looks like you're drowning in opportunity. You get to choose your path. How, what opportunities do you want to take hold of? Because it looks like you have quite a few of them. Has anything about the marketing of Unbounce surprised you in the last year? Because you've obviously done marketing before, you did SEO before. When you come into Unbounce, I'm sure you had, your preconceived notions about how it would play out and what it would look like and what the community was going to be like and what kind of people were going to use it. Was there anything that was just really surprising that you've, kind of uncovered in the last year?
Right. That's a good question. I would say, first thing that comes to mind is the absolute willingness of companies to go into sort of partnership agreements with us. And I don't mean like official agreements. I mean just a great rapport with a lot of other really great companies. I thought that was going to be a bit tougher, but it's been really amazing. Like the people that, I've been in contact with over the past year have been incredible and, super easy to work with and super willing, and, they'll do work and we'll do work, and it, we both contribute to this really great thing. And I think that now the sort of surprising thing is that they're now coming to us as opposed to us seeking them out, which is a really nice surprise, right?
Yeah.
Another thing would probably be, and this is, probably horribly cheesy to say, but our customers are amazing.
Well, you have to say that, but yeah.
but honestly, when I was, I moved across the country to come work at Unbounce. And so one of the things that I was doing during my due diligence of, looking up Unbounce was, what do their customers say about them and how do their customers feel? And honestly, awesome people. They love the product. They love Unbounce. And I was like, oh, okay. If they have this many fans, it was overwhelming, honestly. And they're just really great. Great. We have the best customers.
Well, since you've talked about all the good things so much, one last question about, kind of how you're marketing Unbounce. Has there been anything that's been really frustrating as a marketer? Something where you just ran into this wall over and over. You're dying to get past it, by it, through it, over it, and you're just like, it's not working, but it's supposed to. Is there anything that's been really frustrating for you?
Not that frustrating.
Yeah. Okay, so that's fine. Yeah. Well, sometimes, it happens with startups. Sometimes it can be truly frustrating. So I was just wondering if you've had any of those stories.
No, I probably have the typical marketing problem where, especially when you're marketing a product or a service. When you're marketing a SaaS product, it can be hard to tie marketing with product, right? Or product releases and things like that. So, now that we have so many, things on the go, like ebooks and webinars and the blog and, all these sort of campaigns that come running through all the time. We try, like I said, to tie feature releases with content. So we do like a themed week on the blog, and we put together an webinar. We write an ebook, which is writing an ebook is a massive job. It's not a week project, right? So tying feature releases with marketing campaigns, is something that I don't know if that ever gets perfected. But, no, we haven't perfected that yet.
It's just difficult to coordinate it because there's so many moving parts, so many people, so many different needs trying to be met.
Yes. So many people and so many needs trying to be met. Yeah, absolutely. It's just that's our current sort of struggle right now, or my current struggle right now, is tying those two things together and not being so like date specific and being a little bit more flexible and not having it be the end of the world if a deploy waits an extra week or two or more.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this. That brings up another question. So a lot of times in companies that are not marketing companies themselves, because Unbounce is for marketers, marketing always takes a back seat to the product, right? The product release cycle is the number one thing and nobody interferes with it. Do you have the ability to go to them and be like, look, this ebook is incredible. We need to push off the launch of this feature to this time to coordinate with it. Would the product team even consider taking input from the marketing team about when to do something with the product itself? Is there more of a level ground with you guys, or is it still product is king, marketing is second?
No, they would definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially in terms of integrations and things like that. I mean, that's what we always say, right? Like, we are our customer, our team.
Yeah, that's why I'm interested in knowing, because you're such a different kind of company. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's actually awesome. Our dev, our product team is amazing, and yeah, they're always coming to us asking for, opinions on different feature releases. Like, how do you use this, and what do you feel about this? And it's actually it's an awesome experience, honestly.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of like driving, like what technical integration is going to come next, marketing has a big say in that. And even the direction of the product, just because, we are our customer. We use this product every day. And my biggest frustration with the product is definitely our customer's biggest frustration with the product. So, a lot of communication actually between those two.
You just made a lot of marketers very jealous that they have product teams and developers that are actually looking for input from them on the front end, and not just say, "Hey, I'm done. Go market it now." So sorry everybody that you don't work for Unbounce. All right, well let's close up the interview with one last question here. I'll give you a chance to kind of give back to the community of people that want to be in your shoes someday. They want to be the director of marketing for a startup. What's the best piece of advice that you can give to someone who really wants to understand startup growth and eventually maybe end up in a situation like you?
One piece?
Or many pieces. You can go on as long as you want.
Okay. I'd say, from an Unbounce perspective, and also from a personal or professional perspective, it would definitely be to never, never, never underestimate the power of creating a loyal community or an engaged community. It sounds so okay, social. But honestly, the connections that you'll make on Twitter at the beginning can very likely be your most powerful and strategic partnerships. Not that long later, and that underestimating the power of that. That's what I shudder to think of. Technical co-founders or technical founders that just don't put enough emphasis on that or enough importance on it, and it really, really is huge. From a biz dev perspective and from a marketing perspective, it's absolutely massive. Just having that great rapport within the community is super, super important. I'm trying to think of what else. Putting out so much content that it hurts, but not getting so lost in because content marketing is all over the place now, and it's starting to it's becoming old hat almost. So really standing out in terms of content and not being afraid to do things that are a little bit different. One example actually, which is perfect, is Ollie put in the Noob Guide to Online Marketing. I think it was in 2011, and it was an infographic and an ebook like nobody had ever seen before, and it was completely out of left field. Like nobody had produced something like this. The infographic, when you print it, is like 7 feet tall or something. It's ridiculous. It was just like over the top huge, and it was a huge, huge success for us. And it was because he went off the beaten path, did something that was very different. And also always very both educational and entertaining at the same time. So that too, for building that rapport with your community. And I'd say those are probably the two things to never sort of underestimate, I guess. Yeah, the community and the power of quality content. That's great. That's incredible advice. Well, Georgiana, this has been an awesome interview. Hopefully people go and try Unbounce and watch you guys just market yourselves and learn from your marketing and actually use your product. So thank you so much for being on the program today. Okay, thank you so much. It was fun.